Yeah, good evening, everyone. Maz okay speaking to us today, being the 25th of May, 2021. So, how are we doing today? I hope everyone is fine, and I hope everyone is all right. As usual, if I may know where you are watching me from, that would be very helpful to understand, the things that are happening this week. Obviously, I'm going to do justice to the topic as it is being displayed here. Now, you can see that the topic we are talking about, or we will be talking about today, is no other topic than the one that talks about the ban on open grazing and the Northern stand on what, on the ban, because obviously they were part of the, you know, they first banned open grazing. But when the southern governors came around to say, okay, we do not want this because it's actually causing trouble in our place, and suddenly everybody began to go, or rather, everybody began going gaga, and they started talking. And I've read a lot of contributions, some of them intellectually, intellectual submissions, and I've come to the conclusion that it is something, in as much as it is tiring that we keep repeating and saying the same thing every time. But again, they wouldn't stop, because as long as they wouldn't stop from driving every one of us crazy, then we wouldn't stop as well reacting to the thing they are, pushing us into. Now, to do justice to this, I'm going to be having the Arise TV crew that include Rufai, that you can see on the screen uh, here. See, that is Rufai here. You can see him on the screen. Then I would, they've actually again made me proud, because they've have really, really brought to bear what the issues are. Okay, so again, I'm going to be discussing open grazing once more, and I will show us that the North was the first to ban open grazing. And in that, question is, why are they now acting ignorant, that they don't know that this was what the decision that their northern governors, because northern governors, 19 state men, women, 19 of them came together, took a decision on their behalf. The same way our governors from the south have gone, taking a decision on our behalf, and we support them. Now, tomorrow, if someone from, assuming that they've said, okay, no open grazing, and someone from the north tomorrow starts saying, okay, we support the ban on open grazing, why should they then get angry and get wonky? Oh, we don't know what's happening. Oh, why did you say that? It's you should have consulted us. It's a crime. Blah blah blah. You should have let us know. The thumbnail that I have used for this conversation this evening is actually a very fantastic one. Some of you following me on Twitter, you would have seen my tweet, because I love it. It's a thumbnail that has to showcase how what I now call it, the spare parts headsman. I'm contesting for the office of the spare parts headsman. Okay, so proudly spare parts dealer. That's what I am. So that's what the Malami, the aeroplane AGF, aeroplane driver, Attorney General of the Federation, that's what he has called us. And I am here on this platform on the Njenge Media TV saying that I agree. I am, and that's what I am. I am basically nothing else than someone who is proud of being a motor spare parts dealer. And I'm saying I am hereby declaring my intention to contest for the presidency and the commander-in-chief of the spare parts headsmen. So that's what we have become, and that's what we will be. Having said that, I will get into the meat of the matter shortly. So, but before I do, let me lay this ground ground in order to get to the, in order to clear the first point of my argument, which is that that the northern governors, sometime beginning of the year, came together in Jos, Plateau State, and agreed on the following. Now, I don't want to go too much back, and I didn't want to go back to Engineer Media News to show this. I want to go to an independent source to say and to show this. Now, I want us to pay attention on this date. Look, this is on the 9th of February 2019. That was 5 days to Valentine's Day. Then cast your mind back. No, where was I? 5 days to Valentine's Day. Where was I on those days? So it's because, hold on, so that I'll take this off so that it's going to be okay for everyone to actually understand. So look at the dates that I have highlighted here, because it's going to help us understand what I'm driving at this evening. So have you looked at it? That is the 9th of February 2021. Then, and the headline says, Insecurity. Northern governors seek end to open grazing. That is before the southern governors had, before the whole madness got to this point. And who is this? Okay, so that was Lalong. That is the governor of Plateau State. Okay, let's get to the meat of the matter here. He says, that is the name of the reporter. But here is a critical thing. He says, in view of the growing population and urbanization, governors from the 19 northern states in Nigeria under the auspices of Northern Governors Forum have anonymously, that means no opposition, agreed that the current system of herding conducted mainly through open grazing is no longer sustainable, and called for intensive sensitization of herdsmen to adopt new method in carrying out their trade. It is no longer sustainable. When it was not sustainable around 2002 to 2004, that, remember, there was a time cars that were 30 years, 40 years were being shipped into Nigeria. I remember that time because I was in the trade, that the government took a decision to ban any car that was more than 10 years never to come to Nigeria, be it from Europe, America, anywhere. That was under the presidency of Olusegun Obasanjo. People, what did that lead to? When you look back and see that was a moment, people were saying, in the Igbo nation, you had a lot of issue going on then. People saying, there was this madness then, family prayers. It was as a result of that policy. That policy actually, made it possible that people started losing sources of income. You see people in Lagos, in Maza dealing on cars. Suddenly, the amount of cars that was coming in, halved. Now, that is policy. But here we are. Remember, that policy was more environmental than any other thing. But here we are, lives are being lost every single day. And no one from the presidency is taking this serious. Here, it continues. The governors hit on the need to adopt a new method of herding by ranching or by acceptable modern method. Even they appeal to the federal government to support states with grants. Again, emphasis here. I know some of you watching me do not want to hear this, but I must continuously repeat. Yes, ranching and cow herding, like every spare parts dealer, is a private business. But because these are taking an unprecedented, level of madness, yes, one can, agree, let there be a grant. It's not free money. It's going to be a loan. the way we have microfinances in some areas like agriculture, but here let it be a soft loan with a certain certain time that you pay back. And whenever we do something like that, it's going to help us. It's going to help us immensely to, one, reduce the conflict, two, allow you and I, because when we talk about money for headers to go into ranching, you think maybe Fulanis. No, you and I can actually go into ranching. You and I can actually go to Uturu, where where we know they still have land. You and I can buy 5-6 acres of land. You and I can start, even open up laboratory for artificial inseminations, where we can go and start collecting the sperms of the bulls. We can start freezing them. We can start using it to have, just like fertilizer. Was it not fertilizer? Not fertilizer bank. Sorry, the word fails me again. Fertility bank. Where you have sperm donors. You have this. You can actually start crossbreeding. You can begin to crossbreed the type of cow that the Ekiti state government brought in from America into Ekiti state with the local one. You can start, the Belgian big bulls. You can crossbreed them with the Argentina red, very. I mean, let's play with the imagination. People are doing that with dogs in Nigeria. People are crossbreeding pit bull with Rottweilers, producing some, something out of the blues. But here, this is a private business, are granted, but we can do better than what we are currently doing. So, in essence, here, before I get into the meat of the matter, here is very simple. You can look that they were calling on this, and at the end of the day, after this, they actually issued a communique, and in their communique, which you can see on my screen, in their communique, you can see their communique here very, very clearly, stating what they agreed on. So a communique is that statement that when leaders meet at the end of the day, they will issue this communique. Remember when we had the Aburi Accord, there was a communique. That communique was all the agreements reached in the Aburi Accord, though all the agreement was eventually breached, but at least there was an agreement. Exactly what we now refer to the Asaba Accord, or as some will call it, Asaba Declaration, by the Southern governors of Nigeria. That is the same way that the Northern governors met, and finally they said this, expressing their concern in their communique, that communique which they issued at the end of an emergency virtual meeting held on, because remember, February, because of COVID and lack of vaccination at that point, they weren't meeting, and this meeting was held virtually, and it was on a Monday, where the issues affecting the region in particular and the nation in general was discussed. The governors noted there was a need to urgently tackle the issues raised for the good of the region. Now, where? Not for the good of the nation. Pay attention here. They were not saying for the good of the Southeast. They were not saying for the good of South or Southwest. They were not saying for the good of Southern Nigeria. They were saying for the good of the Northern region. For the good of the Northern region, to ban open grazing. Now, it now strikes me to death to now think you can come together and ban open grazing in your region because you want your people to be protected. But in my own region, when I now say, yes, we have to do the same thing, just a question of replication or replicating what you have done, it becomes an issue. People, you can see that. You can see where we are headed to, people. Have you seen where we are headed to? Again, the chairman of that body said the following. You can read it for yourself. Now, what do you think would now make a president who ought to know better in today's Nigeria suddenly comes up and starts spewing the things he says today? Now,
President Muhammadu Buhari has criticized the decision
let me
by
bring
governors
back the Arise team here so that we quickly, um,
of 17 states.
hold on. Let me see if I can bring back.
Ban open grazing of cattle. The president also calls to question the legality of the decision. He says the governors have offered no solution to the issue of clashes between farmers and herders and are just trying to flex their political muscle. According to presidential spokesman Garba Shehu, President Buhari has now approved a plan that will lead to a permanent solution to the frequent confrontation.
Now you ask yourself, which freaking plan are they talking about? Which plan? There is no plan ab initio. So remember before, because sometimes it appears we all forget something. They came up with livestock, not Ruga, not Ruga. Ruga was an afterthought. They came out with livestock under the vice president. They presented even the NEE. They presented this working document. I remember that time I reviewed it and it was a very nice working document. But rather than to go ahead and implement that or the content of that document, which was the National Livestock Initiative, rather than go ahead and implement it, suddenly we started hearing about Ruga. So Ruga was something brought in through the back door in order to thwart what the National Livestock Initiative was to do. Now let's listen to this.
Between the farmers and nomadic Fulani herdsmen. What is this plan, Tundu, that have not been put forward all these years?
It has, though, the National Livestock Transformation Plan of 2019.
Exactly. That's what I said, the National Livestock Transformation
Plan. Rural grazing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Ruga was rejected.
Okay.
And then...
No. Guys, I think here, Ruga was an afterthought. Remember when Osibanjo came out to disown Ruga, saying, this is not his job. This is not that which he has spent time in order to come up with. Ruga was smuggled through the back door under Audiogbe, the then Minister of Agriculture. I don't know. Sometimes when all these things just happening here, it appears we're no longer keeping tab what is happening. We are not all idiots. Some of us actually staying on this matter to understand this matter, to really get a deeper and a better understanding of what is happening. So let's continue.
The NEC approved this National Livestock Transformation Plan in 2019, but here we are in 2021 and not one single ranch has been built. That plan foresaw a situation where in the next 10 years, so by 2028, there will be 119 ranches all over the country, and all 19 northern states agreed to house those ranches and 5 southern states. And the federal government was supposed to put up 80% of the funding. That has not happened. I guess the federal government is cash-strapped, so nothing has been done.
It is understandable because, obviously, with the dip in oil price, with the COVID-19 pandemic hitting the economy, not only in Nigeria, internationally, I mean, that's granted. With all these things happening, dwindling, foreign currency inflow, and as we say in the Igbo nation, the worst thing that can happen to you is when you are hungry and the person that ought to give you something to eat is also hungry. So it hits the nation, and the diaspora reserve that was supposed to actually come and bail out at that moment in time were also hit by COVID. Therefore, we became, the whole thing became convoluted. But point is that the president it's suddenly taking a funny. And I like how this lady here described the president in some words that actually I hope the station will not be fined because I like the words that she used.
Not one ranch has been built. So nature abhors a vacuum. When nothing is being done at the federal level, it is the responsibility of state governors to take up the challenge and ban open grazing. Now, I think that President Buhari's response here is wholly inappropriate in both content and tone.
Honestly, I'm loving it. President Buhari's reaction, President Buhari's comment is condemnable because it falls short of that of a person that should call himself a president of a federal republic that consists of more than 350 ethnic nationalities. He is not the president of the Fulani ethnic nationalities. He's not the president of the Northwest, and he's not the president of a certain people if he was making such comment. So let's continue.
Because it is the job of the governors to do precisely what they have done. The National Livestock Transformation Plan also prohibits open grazing because it recognizes the problems that open grazing has caused. So what exactly is his problem? The problem that he seems to be expressing reminds me of his little voyage to Oyo State in the year 2000 when Lamadishina was governor, when he went to challenge him with a group to say your people are killing our people. The president is coming across as parochial, and the same way he was flawed by the Governor Additional at the time is the same way his current statement has no basis in any kind of fact. That objection that he made then was completely discredited. It was the Fulani herders clashing with their host community and killing them. And there were 5 Fulani herders unfortunately killed, not 68 as he claimed. So this is the same sort of hysteria, the same sort of paranoia that I can sense in this statement that he has made. Again, I will repeat, wholly inappropriate, especially at a time of such ethnic tensions, when people are unhappy with what we perceive as nepotism, with what we perceive as the president seeing only one constituency as those he is serving, not the rest of us, unlike the oath that he took to Nigerians, the entirety of Nigerians. So I really wish he had. We often talk about how he doesn't speak much, he's not loquacious enough and what have you. This is one of those examples where he should really have kept this to himself. And talking about the legality or otherwise, he's not a lawyer, so I really can't blame him. He's taking legal advice from his Attorney General, who is misinformed. It is a court that will now decide this. The president at the federal level has decided against open grazing. So what is this knee-jerk reaction, this knee-jerk rejection of what Southern governors has done? It looks sinister to me. And the last time I checked, our president is a staunch Muslim. He needs to step back from this Hindu-like reverence of the bovine.
Okay. Wow. Take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath and first digest what this young woman have just said. And I like the way Yinka put it. Yinka said, I doubt Buhari's team have the competence to grasp the insult. I tell you, this young lady, within the statements that she just made now, really, really gave them what we call one blow, 7 apples. But would they actually understand that this is one blow, 7 apples? You think you've had it all, then wait until Ruben Abati comes in. I like it. As I'm liking this team, honestly, I like to analyze them. I'm liking this thing now.
Yesterday, I made a point that the big problem we have with the challenge of open grazing is that it is interpreted, categorized, analyzed, presented as if it is a North-South conflict.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And I made the point that, look, there are voices of reason in the North who are also opposed to reason, opposed to open grazing. And I made the point that Femi Falana, SAN, did an essay published on the back page of This Day. Okay, I hope I don't get sued by Femi Falana or SAM for overquoting, over-appropriating, his views in that particular article. But the point that he made there is that he provided documentary evidence, concrete evidence of the fact that there are also stakeholders and forces in the North who are opposed to open grazing because they don't think that is the modern approach. They don't think that it is productive. They don't think that it's a sustainable approach. And he quoted the Northern, Governors Forum. He quoted the Arewa Consultative Forum. He quoted the Miyetti Allah Forum. He quoted other groups in the North. And he documented all of that in that article in which he said, look, this is not a North-South conflict.
Exactly.
This is about how Nigeria can progress. This is how a particular economic interest can be advanced. Now, yesterday, I quoted Tanimu Yakubu, who was a cabinet member in Katsina State at the time.
And the article he's just citing now, I've read it as well. The Yakubu of a man actually categorically said in that article, I don't know, I can't remember if we published it, categorically stated in that article that if nothing is done urgently, that this desertification that is happening in the North is going to come down to you as well. And it's going to get worse. But rather than solve the problem where the issue is, we're only taking a very, very easy approach. Blame game. Blame game. That's what we want to engage in. Blame game.
Who was at the time chief economic advisor to the president of Nigeria. And he wrote an article, Why Open Grazing Must Be Discontinued. He's a Northerner. It's part of that heritage. If they are talking about heritage, tradition, religion, whatever it is. And he articulated it, and he said, in fact, open grazing poses a threat to the environment. The Nigerian president goes every September to the United Nations to talk about climate change. We've been talking about climate change in the presidential speech at the UN General Assembly for the past 10 years. Okay? And now we have a major issue, a major area in which Nigeria can contribute to resolving this climate change crisis that the entire world faces. And unfortunately, Nigerians have reduced it to ethnicity, to religion.
Exactly.
Now, to come to the point about the statement that has been issued by the president, I think it's very unfortunate. It is most embarrassing. But Tunu, you are right. He must have been advised by the Attorney General of the Federation, whose attention has been drawn repeatedly to the fact that this Section 41 of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria is not talking about the free movement of cattle. He's talking about the free movement of citizens. It says
human beings.
Nobody has banned any Fulani person or anybody of northern extraction from moving around Nigeria. The southern governors, also supported by the PDP governors of Nigeria, also supported, incidentally, by the southwest leaders of the APC, have all said that, look, what the federal government should do is to support ranching, provide resources, provide the opportunity for ranching to take place. But here, we are now faced with a situation whereby the president of Nigeria is towing the line of the Attorney General of the Federation to talk about illegality, to talk about unconstitutionality. I think the only option left open is the position held by Governor Akeredolu of Ondo State, who happens to be chairman of the Southern Governors Forum, because he issued a statement in which he said that Southern governors are ready to go to court to challenge the Attorney General. We have had many cases, AG Edo State versus AG Federation, AG Lagos versus AG Federation, AG Bender versus AG Federation, in which the issue was about finance, resource allocation. Okay, now on this open grazing, I think that the rules of interpretation should be brought into play with regard to Section 41. Exactly. And it's only the court, the Supreme Court, that I think can resolve the matter, or should resolve the matter. And I think it's also very strange, very disturbing that the presidency would take a position that marks of ethnic alignment.
Yeah.
But that's what it is.
You know, and that really is the big problem. Because from the point of view of PR, I don't think that the presidency should have issued that statement that Garuba Shehu signed yesterday.
No, that was-
it would have
that
been
was-
better
that was a
perhaps to
disaster.
keep quiet and allow the states to resolve the matter on their own. But of course, the president is perhaps duty-bound to take the advice of his Attorney General.
No,
Thank you so much,
no,
Dr.
no,
Abbas.
no.
We'll go on a
Not
quick
in
break.
court
You
issue.
wonder, is it just about cattles? Or cattle, I should say. Cattle, I should say. Or it's something more than this?
Well, you know, so when you look at this and you see what the Arise team has done, and I keep saying it, because at the end of the day, it's I normally see some of the argument of some of us. I watch some of our conversations, and most times we tend to kind of keep knocking people, even when when they've done one thing or the other, we keep knocking them, But in this case, I give it to them. My job here is always to bring, in order to drive down, to drive my point and make my point better. I normally look at these clips, bring them here, analyze them, and at the end of the day, so that we can understand issues better. One thing is that we must not all agree on issues. We must not. But at least there is something, what is called the universality of truth. When someone is standing by truth, it's always universal. And in this case, when something makes sense, it is logical, it has empirical backing, it makes empirical sense. For me, it stands as truth. And that is what they have shown us here. And again, anyone, remove yourself being a southern Nigeria, remove yourself being, Igbo, Yoruba, Niger Delta, anything. Just remove yourself being middle belt, Edo, whatever you call yourself. But just look at it from pure human angle. We have cows moving from point A to point B. In their movement, they destroy the ecosystem. In their movement, they destroy lives. In their movement, they cause accident. In their movement is attached kidnapping. In their movement, people lose their valuables in terms of their money, their cash, sometimes their lives, their crops. In that same movement, demography of a place is destroyed. You watching me, you're from Edo, you move into Italy, you move into Germany, you move anywhere you move, what do? You do not live on the street. You do not go to the, what's it called? The Rheinfall or the Oberbayern and live in the bush. You don't go to Western or let's say Southern Spain, or you don't go to Madrid and begin to live in the bushes. You go and live with people. You do the type of business that is there. You do not destroy a place you meet. What the Southern governors are requesting is not, you cannot do your cow business. No, the Southern governors never said so. The Southern governors are only saying, if you have to do this business, the madness of moving the cow by foot that has to do with criminality, that has to do with destroying of our farmlands, raping of women, doing all manner of evil, that it has to stop. Rather than do that, take this cow. We're happy when you bring them to Umahia. We're happy when you bring them to Owerri. We're happy when you bring them to Ekiti or Lagos or Kwara. But to match these cows from Medugri to Ogbomosho is insanity. Because actually, in doing that, you will destroy the future of a child. A child that is maybe 10 years, 15 years, and you take that child away from school, and that child is marching by foot. How is that child going to go to school? Your cow, by the time he arrives, Obomosho, will be emaciated. Your cow, by the time he arrives, Biriningwari, it will be so thin. And it might take you 2 to 3 months. You risk your life. Nigeria is still a vast nation. You still have wildlife. You risk your life. You risk the life of your child. You risk the communities you're invading, because how do we have this farmer-herders clash? The farmer is in his own house. The farmer is not moving. The farmer, his assets are static. Someone takes this cow, move, comes in, destroys his farm. And you want him to come and shake you and say, you've done well. He's not going to do that. That leads to conflict. And once it leads to that conflict, lives are lost. We must come back and begin to value lives. Again, I couldn't support the governors enough to say, excellent job you have done. Excellent job you have done. You know, before I conclude, again, where incompetency wears trousers, or rather, some people say that incompetence wears shokoto and is running amok on the street, that in this case, you know, we saw the Minister of Defense make statements, and these statements, you know, again, my good Arise team did once more justice. Let me quickly grab that video. My good Arise team did justice to that particular video, and the analysis is so spot on. I just want to quickly share that with us so that we understand what I'm talking about. The people, no matter what we think, no matter whatever we think, you know, no matter what we think, okay, we must know that at the end of the day, everyone, as long as you're still in the same federation, have the right to do their business, to sell their cows. And again, that right is not denied. Hence, it beats me silly, real silly, when we begin to hear arguments like, oh, if what's it called again? If peppers dealers are told to. And I say, no one has told the cow dealers not to sell their cows. What has been said is that in selling your cows, please do not move by foot. Only use what is known. Use trucks.
Chair Magashi,
So,
Nigeria's Minister of Defense.
again, let me give insight to these next analysis that I want to do. It's about the Chief of Army Staff that died last week. Yes, it is no longer news that the president is mute about that. Some people came with one silly argument. Oh, the president didn't go because he was buried in less than 24 hours when he died. Because, you know, remember, Reno Omokri shared a picture of the former president, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, attending the burial service of Azazi, who died in a chopper crash. And everyone, it just frames it just like, you know, it appears you have robots, people who can think. Everyone is trying to justify why a president of a nation loses his COS and he's not able to, you know, show empathy. And personally, I tweeted and I said, I think, you know, just don't even bother yourself, because it has been proven that you have a president who is emotionally incapable of governing a nation, not to talk of a an entity as vast and as big as Nigeria, because he does not understand what emotional intelligence is all about. Another great opportunity missed, that something like this happened, he kept quiet. He zipped it. He said absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yet, the man who went there to speak had these blunders. Not one, not two, not three. Yeah, at some point, I said, now maybe the man drank fermented brukutu before he came, or maybe fermented kudu. Because, honestly, you can't make it up. Watch. Honestly, you cannot make this up. You can't make this up.
That's given a speech during the funeral of the late Chief of Army Staff and 10 other military officers circulated online. In the short clip, the minister, while reading from a script, attributed the wrong title to officials at the funeral and made grammatical blunders. Let's take a look.
Your Excellencies, the executive governors here present, the Chief of Staff, the President,
the Chief of Staff, Mr. President, did you hear that?
Ambassador Gambari, the Chief of Staff.
The Chief of Staff, again. So how many Chief of Staffs do we have, please?
General Reke Irabo.
The Chief of Staff, General Reke Irabo. Oga, Chief of Staff, again. Now what do you all?
Police Officers' Wives Association, Mrs. Victoria Irabo. The National President, Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, Mrs. Fatih Atahiru. The late Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru was an icon of professionalism.
Was an icon of filling the gap. Okay, tell us what type of icon he was.
An icon of professionalism.
An icon of what? What?
Of professionalism.
What?
An icon of professionalism. An icon of professionalism. An icon of professionalism, bravery, and discipline. This irreparable loss is this irreparable loss. This irreparable loss.
Now, this imparable, whatever. Jesus Christ. Okay? Is irreparable loss. L-O-S-S, not irreparable lost. Jesus Christ, these are common tenses. Even my primary 6-year-old, my primary 6-year-old son knows this. Irreparable loss, not lost. Okay, continue.
Irreparable loss is in
again.
This irreparable loss is indeed a tragedy to our dear nation. On behalf of the Commander-in-Chief, I wish to extend his great displeasure.
What?
Displeasure.
What? Why is it a displeasure?
Displeasure.
Why?
His great displeasure.
So displeasure that the burial is taking place, or the displeasure that what is happening, Oga?
Oh, the sadness of today's solemn event. On this note, I wish to express my heartfelt condolences. I wish to express my heartfelt condolences. I wish to express my heartfelt condolences. I wish to express my heartfelt condolences to all the bereaved families. The federal government, my heartfelt condolences, to all the bereaved families. The federal government.
We must bring Okorocha here. Okorocha will call this Iberiberism, and I will say it is Iberiberism squared. Iberiberism. Hi.
To all the bereaved families.
To all the Iberiberism.
Heartfelt condolences to all the bereaved families. The federal government
you have
and the people of Nigeria for this loss.
This is not normal. You learned this from Okorocha.
This video went viral, Tundu. I mean, I don't know what happened there. Maybe the script writers could have chosen simpler sentences or words. Heartless condolence. I don't know what happened there.
I'm going to give him a break. I think everybody's been really mean. Not everybody is good at public speaking. It's not everybody's forte. And at least he showed up to the funeral, unlike some other people. So I'm really going to give him a break here.
Okay, public communication is an important aspect of public life. So whether it's in the corporate sector or in the public sector. What happens to many people is that they find themselves in a position of importance and they do not have the relevant communication skills to be able to engage the public. Now, in this particular case, Minister of Defense, the usual protocol is that first, once the speech is written, the boss should look at it. His staff should have taken him through it to make him practice.
He didn't feel the need to prepare.
And also teach him how to pronounce some of those words. Now, except somebody is totally incompetent. Once you prepare, once you make an effort to...
Ruben Abati, remember you're talking to the person in charge of defense. Be careful. Your station will be fined another 5 million and they might even come to you now. Be careful.
Prepare. Once you make an effort to prepare, then you will not go to a public occasion to embarrass yourself. Now, the Minister of Defense of Nigeria, can you imagine the kind of rib-cracking laugh?
Minister of Defense. Now, imagine Colin Powell. Minister of Defense. Just have a mental picture of Colin Powell standing there. For Christ's sake, there was no need, just like as I am speaking to the audience now, there was no need for anything. Speak from your heart. If there was any, again, in previous segment, I talked about emotional intelligence. And I said, emotional intelligence is there. That event, this man was being buried 24 hours after death, or less than 24 hours he died. So there was no need of long, trenchy. What people normally do, we were taught, is you could just basically have key points in just a paper like this. You could have just a key point, 10 key points. You can just hold them. I want to talk about, number one, the families. Number two, the nation. Number three, president's condolences. Number four, the next action. Boom, 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 boom. That's the way it's done. You can stick it somewhere. You can put it in your wallet. You can... Jesus Christ. And here you have a written speech and you still come out here and you made a mess of the written word.
That will be growing on in diplomatic circles in Nigeria, both or even abroad. First, he started by saying the president was expressing his displeasure.
Yeah, displeasure on what? The displeasure that this man died or the displeasure that the burial is taking place. So if this is the first time of seeing me on this platform, please subscribe to this channel. If it is not, if you haven't, please like this video, share the video. YouTube algorithm likes it when videos are shared. They think it helps them understand that you like the video and it's going to help others to come and join this conversation.
At the event, displeasure how? Displeasure that the funeral was taking place?
And, listen, I don't blame these guys. These are serious-minded people, but I've just noticed now I have the same color of t-shirt with this lady. Is she mimicking me? Anyway, back to the point. You can just see the way they were even laughing. At some point, it felt like these guys were no longer in journalists. They are no longer in a studio because, listen, you can't make it up. There is no way you will not laugh and crack yourself up to the point that you forgot that you're actually in a broadcasting studio.
And then somewhere along the line, he said, heartless felt condolence to displeasure, and then heartless condolences being conveyed. And what kind of thing is this? And then he referred to the chief of army staff, the chief of defense staff, chief of staff.
Exactly.
Yes.
Chief of
Then he
defense
referred
staff.
to the wife of the chief of defense staff as a president, something. You know, and I was wondering what is going on here. You know, in 10 minutes, 30 minutes.
Listen, Ruben, I told you, this happens when if you consume a fermented brukutu or a fermented kunu that has not been put in the freezer and you drink it 3 days after. That is, I can tell you from experience. Don't ask me when.
It's rehearsal with his staff would not have caused this kind of problem. But I think, every public person should just learn from this. It's the kind of thing that can happen to you if you do not prepare.
Correct.
So it's not a question of what he wrote.
I mean, I thought it would be better to just choose
okay, maybe you should have spoken in Hausa then.
Yes,
for convenience.
All that. Rufai, a quick comment so we could go to our next story.
Doctor, but English are lingua franca. Why should you speak in Hausa?
Well, if that's the one that is easy for him,
no,
there could have been a translator there.
You should learn he wrote promotional exam when he was in the army. He used English.
You see, look at Abbasi. Abbasi was trying not to laugh. The question is, did he ever? Let me not. Okay, let me not say this, but Army, please, don't jump my fence. It wasn't me that said this. Army, please. I don't like the way you people slap people because you might slap me now. I will start saying that this is very heartfelt slap.
You write it now. You should learn it finish. You should get brighter grammar, and the people that are writing the speech, they should get brighter grammar. That's what, because we've seen a lot of terrible speeches being written by government officials. You wonder across board what is happening. So they should all get brighter grammar. That book is very effective. It helps everybody in grammar. It can still work for them. But secondly, you look at the optics and you see the nonchalance.
Exactly, Rufai. God bless you. The nonchalance. If you go back and look at the body language says it all. The body language, I mean, we are never smart in things, the finer details, crossing the I's, crossing the T's and dotting the I's, the finer details are missing. Please, if you're new to this channel, kindly subscribe to this channel, share this video, support this channel, and let us continue with analysis.
By these people. And you get very sad for this country. If he's stuttering to give a speech in a very emotional situation, but this was the same person that boldly said in this country that we should carry guns and fight bandits now.
Yeah, fight bandits
with
AK-47.
But he said it boldly when he said it then. But how come at a time we need leadership the most, we need to say the right words, then we don't hear those words? Comforting words. We don't hear those words. Is this the time to even read a speech? No, it's the time I think people should say, we'll put the speech aside and talk from the heart and say how we feel about those people that passed.
Exactly.
I expected a moment of riveting oratory, to calm the nerves.
Listen, you might dislike Professor Yemi Osibanjo. You might like him, you might dislike him, but these are the moments that I could only wish he was the one who stood there. Because somehow he manages to find the right message for the right audience. Again, he's not a professor in vain. That is when we talk about competence. Competence has a way of making delivery, putting the square peg in a square hole. I'm not saying he's not competent, but again, you be the judge, not me.
To say things like, we'll never forget his sacrifice. But we don't hear words. But it's when they want to tell us that you people go and fight bandits, and who are they? What are they carrying? AK-47. That's when you hear their mouth will be sharp. Brighter Grammar is the way, anyway.
Brighter Grammar.
Brighter Grammar. Very good book, Oji. I recommend it for them.
All right.
Okay, so again, so who is saying? Who is not? Let me take some comments. I must leave. Honestly, I don't want this broadcast to get to over 1 hour. I'm, basically going to use the last 2 minutes to take your comments, and I will leave. Let me just quickly take a couple of comments. We have about 3 minutes to wrap this up. Oluwakim Lawson says, you got it, bro. Okay. A whole world laughing at Nigeria. Well, it's be today it's starting now. They've been laughing at us. We Southerners, thank you, Brian Okonkwo. Thank you for the super chat. You rock. You rock. Mazi, they are not even bothered about optics these days. No, I mean, that's, again, have you ever seen people like Akuwumi, the the head of African, is it African Bank or whatever, the African Agricultural Bank or whatever, that Akuwumi, the former Minister of Agri? He understands it. Have you ever seen Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala? Sorry, I'm not, for not sounding for the fear of sounding as if I'm only mentioning Southerners. Have you ever listened to Lamido Sanusi Lamido? Whatever you might think about him, these are people that have the delivery. Look at people like Kingsley Moghalu. These are people that have the delivery. Why is it that the nation cannot give competent people the post? Anyway, what am I saying? Has your president actually, maybe the Magashi of a Mabi Magaji of a man actually did much better, because I bet you the president wouldn't even get to that point. He didn't even attend, at least Magaji. He attended. Yes, thank you very much, Okoli. That is African Development Bank, AFDB. Yeah? When you look at that guy, you look at people that really smart, people, honestly, I tell people that we enjoy peace in the Southeast and South-South, and actually that the bombing of the pipeline stopped was when Buhari was in the hospital and Osimanjo took over. For the first time, he addressed people. And I was just watching this guy. And I said, then, because, we only saw him from the shadow, but the moment he took over the driver's seat, you could see the difference. I tell you, if you have someone like Osimanjo today, being in the helm of affairs, not that I'm rooting for him, but I mean as a means of competence. The reason why you have agitation right, left, and center, and the decibel of misinformation, the decibel of violence appear to be suffocating, is because you have square pegs in round holes. It doesn't fit. None of them. All they think is about money. Is it your Minister of Information? If he tells you, Mazi, stand up there, my brother, I'm going to look and see whether there is anything planted under my seat, and I'm going to be zipped off. Because these are men that over time, the things they say, holds no water. Again, thank you very much, Abraham here. This guy, again, this is a PT, no, sorry, not, where is Abraham again? Abraham, Abraham Yinka. Oh, what am I talking? I think this infectious something has gotten to me now. Abraham is talking about Aliyu. Exactly, Dr. Aliyu of PTF, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. The guy has, is it Ihe Kwazo? These are people. Is it this Commissioner of Health in Lagos that looks like half caste? You guys, you think we are idiots? We see all these things. Is it Mazes? Okay, now, can't I do, please? Yes or no? Can't I do better than this Magashi of a man? For Christ's sake, I'll do 200 times better than him. What are we talking about? Competence. Is it too much to ask? On that note, people, my conclusion is, Azoka said no. So it means no, Mazoka says okay will not better, not do better. I think like Azoka, but some people are so wicked. Anyway, people, on that note, I would say thank you very much for joining me. I said that. It's good to have a laugh. Thank you very much, everyone. I thank you for showing me that love. Azoka, okay, Azoka corrected himself. Oh, Gerard Amadi says no, Maz is okay. You cannot. I cannot do better than him. Okay, thank you very much. But I think I can do better than him because if not for anything, I am not corrupt. But I'm not saying that others are. At least I am not corrupt. And I can also do better in the other room. On that note, I will say thank you once more for being my guest this evening. Thank you, and share the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Let's see tomorrow. I still have enough in stock for us. But before I leave, I must tell us this. There is an incident today that happened in Ebonyi State. A bomb. How do I put it? There was this bomb scare in Ebonyi State. Initially this morning, people said it was a suicide bomber. And sadly, someone died. And, many believe that the individual is a suicide bomber. But eventually, police afterwards, when I saw the video and the pictures early this morning, the first question I asked myself, if someone tied a suicide vest to take 100, 200 people away, and somehow it detonated before getting to the target, something that was meant to kill. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, who is this? Somebody gave me another super chat. I forgot. Sorry. Pardon me. I need to get back to this. Sorry. Was it? No. Who is this person? Sorry. I need to acknowledge. Oh, thank you very much. Emmanuel Okechukwu. Thank you very much. Super chat. So what I was saying, if you look, if we take away prejudice and look at this picture, because that was without knowing, without contacting police, without reaching out to anybody to Ebonyi, I started analyzing this. The abdomen were yanked off. The arm, the leg, the foot, everything was still intact. And I said to myself, that doesn't really, to me, look more like a shoe, because if that was meant to kill 200 people, for instance, and you only managed to get one person, tell me what it will do. Because as we say, the thing we go kill Amajiri, if you see Alaji, or the thing we're supposed to kill Alaji, if you see Amajiri, waiting if you do. So eventually, police this evening issued a statement saying that what we saw is one of their men. Okay, so the police came out this evening, or rather late afternoon, to say that whatever we saw online was one of their men. Wow. That's what I said to myself. Wow, how come this is then happening? And according to the police, I'm only quoting official sources. According to the police said that let me see if I can pull that up from Njinji Media, but if I do, YouTube might actually flag me because it is too, I won't go back to, you know what I'm going to do, people? I'm going to share, let me share this in the comment section. Click on it, go to Njinji Media News, you're going to read it. Because I'm not going to show these graphic pictures. Obviously, if I do, it's going to affect this channel. I will be breaking YouTube, what they call community guidelines, and that would have consequences. So I wouldn't want to. But the reason why I want to talk about it is that we all have to be vigilant, please. If you see anyone acting suspicious, be vigilant. We must protect our neighborhood, be it in Lagos, be it in Ibadan, be it in Owerri, be it in Port Harcourt, be it in Middle Belt, anywhere, Lokoja, we must all be vigilant. Bottom line is, personally, I doubt if that was something that was gone out to do harm to us, because if it was, I wouldn't expect to see the body parts still intact. But in this case, the body parts are still intact, telling me that there must be something. Now, another source on a private from Ebonyi, when I rang Ebonyi today, because frantically I was trying to make another source from Ebonyi. This is not government, but another source who is also from my state, but as a security personnel who has no interest in hiding any fact, told me something that is, again, neither here nor there. He says that the story has it that the man was behaving as if he was drunk before the things went off. Now, key word is he was behaving as if he was drunk. I don't know if you guys are getting to where I'm going. The other official side says the man blew himself with the granite, because what we are now asking at in Ginger Media is, if he had the granite to his waist, what are police officers doing with granites? I don't know, so much question. So I said, let me clarify this for many of us that I know that will be coming back to ask me what is happening there. But as long as I have so much, yes, I'm still digging into it. But again, the whole thing is neither here nor there. The only thing I can tell us is that, please, you out there, stay safe. Be very watchful and be at alert. The time that we are living now is very, very precarious. On that note, thank you once more for joining me. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Please, please, please like this video and share it. Tomorrow will bring a better day for us. Thank you, and have a wonderful and a fantastic evening. As we say from here, we say peace out.